This mic has two separate signal paths, and you're listening to the transformer signal path right now. Now let me switch over to Transformerless, and this is going to be a little bit more open, the low end's going to be a little bit deeper, and the transients are going to be a lot quicker. And having both of these paths in one mic actually kind of makes it two mics. Let's talk about it.
From the mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov.
So Transformerless and Transformer circuits both in one mic? How cool is that? So I want you to hear them back to back. And I'm going to let a couple of friends of mine show you what it's all about. In a world full of waveforms and whispered delight, where consonants sparkle and vowels take flight, two pathways awaken inside one frame. They aim audio inspire, living up to its name. One voice walks barefoot on a transformer coil, Vitroperm toroid humming like artisanal toil. It warms every syllable, it rounds every edge, like tone wrapped in velvet instead of a wedge. The bass booms gentle, like it's been here before. The mids take a breath and say, "Let me give you some more." Harmonics hold hands and politely align. It's the sonic equivalent of a glass of fine wine. But flip that switch. Oh yes, the shape-shifting twist. And another version of you leaps out of the mist. Transformerless, clean as a winter morning. No sweetening, no seasoning, no subtle adorning. It speaks with precision, a surgeon with tone. Every transient sharp, every detail full grown. Your plosives get punctual, your S's behave. It's the sound of a voiceover pro who refuses to cave. A modern articulate clarity forward thrill. If microphones had sneakers, this one runs uphill. Yet both paths are honest. They just tell it their way. One hugs the signal warmly and says, "You're okay." The other salutes sharply and sends you to war. A tactical operator on a condenser floor. So when you hear the difference, let your ears decide. Do you want velvet-footed poetry or high-definition pride? Either way, one thing's certain. Your voice you will like when you sound dangerously good on an AIM audio mic. And remember this wisdom, a truth in plain sight. Sometimes the biggest difference is the feeling you get when the sound lands just right. Transformer versus Transformerless. Which one did you like? And you don't have to pick because they're both in one mic. That's what I love about it, because I always have a transformer mic in the booth and a transformerless mic in the booth because of the scope of projects that come through the door. I always have to kind of like hone in on what's the correct sound and what's the correct vibe. And sometimes you want the feeling that you get with transformerless, kind of like a footloose and fancy-free, like really, quick transients, more open sound. And sometimes you want that authoritative little extra warmth that a transformer brings to the party. And the transformer in the AIM audio mics it's a custom transformer. It's a toroid, right? So it's like one of those little donut-shaped ones, like in like the Soyuz has it. And it's a more efficient way to disperse the magnetic field, a toroid. So a toroid actually usually sounds a little bit tighter than the normal. We're getting into some really mic nerdy stuff right now. So if your eyes are glazing over from that, just stick around, all right? So the usual transformer is made out of laminates, little like strips of metal that are bound together and wrapped in wire. And the thing is, the toroidal transformer in the AIM audio mics is made out of an alloy, a material called Vitroperm, which is a crystalline material. So it's able to disperse that magnetic field more evenly, more consistently. With the old school laminate style design of transformers, we're talking decades old design. If you look at it under a microscope, you'll see that the laminates they're very grainy, right? And so it changes the way that it disperses the energy that goes through them. So it's not as consistent from unit to unit as this Vitroperm is. And so you can really get the sound dialed in. What they've dialed in with the tone here with this custom made, and I believe they're patented. It's patented. Patenting the transformer. So it's really everything in this mic is custom made. And we're going to talk about all of this in a future video. Another thing I just want to mention real quick is that you may notice I'm not using the Orbit shock mount today. It's hanging. They've really brilliantly installed a mounting screw hole on the bottom of the mic, so you can mount it directly on a boom pole or a boom arm or mic stand. So it works great. And I wanted to do that today so that you could see the front of the mic, because another thing this does, and again we're going to talk about all of this in future videos, is that there's a switch to change between which is the front of the mic or the back of the mic. So sometimes you want the front of the mic to be the front of the mic or the back of the mic to be the front of the mic. But today the back of the mic is the front of the mic, so you can see the front of the mic and you can see all the buttons and everything lit up. So it's pretty cool. I dig this mic because here's the thing. Just as a mic nerd alone, all of the things that this does, it's just super fascinating to me. But as someone who makes a living in this tiny box speaking into a microphone, how this thing sounds is extremely, extremely fascinating to me. Because I honestly think that this is the evolution of my sound to the next level. But what do you think? Let's talk about Transformers versus Transformerless. We're going to get into the bigger overall discussion over the course of many videos, because there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to like about this mic. But what do you think? What do you think of the AIM Audio Inspire so far? I also have the Essence, the cardioid-only sibling to the Inspire. I have that, and I will show you that at a future date. But let me know what you're thinking right now. All right? Until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.